Welcome back to Project GoodSpeed. I'm Jay, and the little hatchback here is currently undergoing an AC system upgrade. Well, I mean, like other stuff is getting upgraded as well, but on this video, it's mostly AC system. So let's get into it. Now, last week, I spent quite a few times going to junkyards trying to find, pieces to replace my interior, because that's what I'm going to be doing. And I managed to find a few pieces here and there, and I figured the best place to start would be with the dash, because it's going to be the stuff that's going to take the longest, and really is going to be also pretty easy to find, because those are interchangeable parts, really. It's the interior over here that is going to be a little difficult to find, because hatchbacks are getting a little bit more rare in the junkyards nowadays. Yeah, check it out. So this is from a 93 Civic, right there, 93. And it looks to be pretty damn similar, shape and all, except for obviously the sensor here. This looks newer. You can see in there, it's got some sort of like weird design. This one looks like it's melted. I mean, it's in there, it lines up. I don't know if there'll be an issue with the dash though, but for anyone who is a 2002 Honda CR-V, looks like it fits. I was able to find quite a few pieces to get this project started. Like I said, it's going to be a long process, but shortest fix is going to be the stuff behind the dash, because it doesn't really need to look all that pretty. Some of the stuff that I did manage to find, and some of the stuff I couldn't find, like this dashboard area here, right? What's the condition on? No, it's an ugly color. I don't want it. All the dashboards I've been able to find are either gray, tan, or broken. What am I supposed to do with that? Oh man. Oh, great. Great, look at this. Look at that. Just destroyed. Busted, look at that. Broken. And the whole right side broken. Man, nobody got any on the Civic. Oh, is that an EK? That is an EK. You don't see too many of these around anymore. Let's see, they got a dash. Anyway, the parts that I did manage to find were the fan housing, heater core housing, the evaporator, and what else did I find? No, that's it. Those are the parts that I took. After I managed to find these pieces from different years, different models, I thought I'd take this time to kind of like modify things a bit, since I'm already going to be replacing them. And that's actually what I've been doing the past few days. So I've basically spent the last few days basically just cleaning up these pieces and prepping them for the upgrades that I was going to do. And you can see here, I basically just covered them up with aluminum tape to kind of help insulate them from the temperature and the atmosphere around them, so that whatever temperature the heat inside of it is can hopefully stay that temperature without being influenced by the outside. And basically I have a heater core housing here from a 93 Honda Civic, the fan housing from a 93 Honda Civic, and the evaporator housing from, I think this is a 2000 Honda CR-V. And I've got the evaporator over there, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I just wanted to walk you guys through the process. I've basically just replaced the foam padding and the fan housing here with a much newer padding. That little hook faces the outside, so remember that. So this old padding here is designed to just close the whole vent for the AC system to allow air to circulate or not. And it's pretty much, look at it, it's just falling apart, everything. So we're gonna go ahead and try to remove this. Oh man, that's disgusting. This is the new padding we're going to use, and I don't know if it's the same. It's not the same thickness, but hopefully this is how it was supposed to be. And I'll put links to everything down in the description below if you guys want to check them out, at least for reference. I think this is probably a good size. Maybe if you guys want to go something smaller, it would be ideal, but I wouldn't recommend going anything thicker, because this is kind of like, might be a little too dense and it might not shut properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clean this off with some soap, water, spray, a knife, basically whatever I can use to get this thing to come off, I'm going to do so. It took a little longer, but it is clean. Check it out. All that's left to do now is cover this thing up in some foam. Air bubbles, I'll fix that. And no more air bubbles. Check it out. Done. I also tested it out. Better seal around the edges. All that's left to do the other side. Might be easier to just tape this and just cut around it, I think. I think I got all the air bubbles out, both sides. Last little touches, I'm just gonna, you know, give it a little angle to the edges to make sure nothing is sticking out. Check it out. I will say the only downside is I think it's a little heavier. And albeit it is a little thicker than I had hoped, if I'm being honest, I might have to keep an eye on this because the fan might not be able to close because the motor might not be strong enough because, like I said, the padding is a little thicker and it might be a little tough to get it to seal properly. That extra kick there might not be able to close properly because of the motor. I'm still not sure, but like I said, I'll just keep an eye on it. Now, a little tip that I learned is I ordered the foam padding here, and I bought it from Amazon, and I went with the thickness that I thought might fit most of these, but it turns out that some of these pads inside the heater core housing are they're different thicknesses and different textures. So I didn't actually change any of the ones inside the heater core. They also didn't look too bad. The vent for the fan actually looked worse, so that one actually did need to be changed. Also, another reason why I am not taking this off and replacing it is because I can't get these to come off. And these pads are very difficult to remove. The adhesive is just like so old and caked up that it just won't come off, at least not very easily, and I need the space to work, so I can't really remove these. I've tried to look at the thing back here and don't really see how they come off because that piece there is kind of like pancaked on the top, so I can't push it through. I might have to remove this whole thing to like get it all to come off, but then I don't think that this piece comes off. So I don't know how to do it, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Now, there were two upgrades that I decided to do in my AC system here, and one of them I think is gonna prove much more effective than the other, and that would be the foam padding. The other one is the aluminum tape. I don't foresee the tape being too effective just because it's going to be under the dash and not exposed to too much of heat. However, I do think it might play a little bit of an advantage in the summer, not so much for the rest of the year. However, the other upgrade is the foam that's going to like pretty much get that nice vacuum seal between all of these parts that connect with each other. And some of the foam was actually worn out pretty bad, and I think that's part of the reason why the AC system in some of these Civics is not as effective, right? You know, you don't have much of a vacuum to kind of help seal all the cold temperature of the air inside, and some of it might just leak under the dash, and you just don't get that full effect when you put your hands towards the vents. However, now I have replaced all of the vents foam, and it should be much more effective now, albeit I ran out because apparently this is all that's left, right? This is the brand Magzo, and it's on Amazon, and they give you 6.5 feet, 2 pieces, and it was just short, maybe like 1 or 2 feet short. Could be due to the size of the cutting that I did, because this isn't enough. These 2 pieces, there's tiny little pieces, are not enough to coat the rest of the evaporator housing. It's got to be one consistent seal all the way around to kind of like really seal it in together. And I don't want to use like pieces unless I have to. And I don't really have to because I'm not in a rush. I still have to do the evaporator parts. And let me go ahead and talk about that for a minute. The Civic here is going to be getting an upgrade. And by that, I mean it's just getting new parts. They're not brand new, but they're new to the Civic. And some of these parts are not for the Civic. This is one of them. This is the evaporator for a Honda CR-V. And I've replaced one before in the hatchback. I made another video about actually adding this particular one because it allows you to insert a, what is it called? A filter right in here, whereas the stock one does not. And this is probably like the 6th or 7th, maybe 8th evaporator that I've removed, just trying to find the right one. I swear, man, I've changed out at least 4 or 5 of these already, but maybe this one will be the charm. One thing I learned is that you don't want to mix the parts that have refrigerant running through them from different models unless they use the same refrigerant, right? This is R134A, and some Civics have R12 running through them, and you don't want to mix and match those parts. Also, the type of evaporator that this is. You guys can see it's got a round style. Some of them have a square style, and I think those are more for the Civics. This is from the CRV, obviously, and I can't remember exactly. They have different codes. I thought that the number was written on the housing, but you know, some of them have different numbers. I really can't tell. Honestly, just keep in mind, if you use this round housing, buy it with the round, if you use the round evaporator, buy it with the round housing. But if you're lucky enough to find a square evaporator, you can just take that housing and buy a new evaporator, because when I try to buy this one brand new, they send me a square one, and the square one does not fit into this round housing. So it did not fit. Look at this. I removed the little foam thing. This side fits in there, that little slot there. Where's the light? But over there, it does not. And this does not. Look at that. How is that an OEM replacement fit? What the? See, it's supposed to fit flush. Just enough room for the filter to slide right through there. Just keep that in mind. I would rather go for a brand new square evaporator if I could. However, I was unfortunate enough to get a round housing. So when I bought the square one, it didn't fit into the round housing unit. So just keep that in mind. Now I finished upgrading all of these parts. I have put new foam padding here. You see all these vents are not going to get a nice seal all the way around. The same thing for this. And all I have to do is buy a new one for this one, because like I said, I don't have enough. And then I'm going to replace this expansion valve, and I'll be able to put it in the housing, seal it up, and then throw it all into the little hatchback. Now, that's pretty much all I'll be doing in this video, right? And it's not really all that, fancy or stuff like that, but I'm just trying to get this stuff kind of squared out. And I do want to say the tape looks like a shitty mess. Some of these pieces, like I said, I'm not too worried about it, but it's something to do. I think it might help, but that's all we're going to be doing for this video, really. I am still holding out on installing all this part, because some of the stuff that I'm looking for is proving a little challenging to find. I still have to replace the dash, replace the headliner, the carpet, the seats. All of this stuff needs to be, at the very least, tried. I have to at least try to replace it, Some of it I might not be able to, like the dash. It's proving a little difficult to find one that matches my style. Like I said, I've been driving through quite a few different junkyards in California, and I am having no luck. But I am committed now, and I won't give up. And if I have to just scrap that project, I'll just clean my dash and reuse it. I think this might be much more effective, and probably the only thing I need to change. But the other stuff, like the seats, carpet, and the headliner, I have to do something about them. The carpet, I might be, dreaming. I might not even be able to find one. The seats, I think that's an easy thing to find, simple enough. I just have to find one that I like. The headliner, I'm going to be replacing brand new, so I don't really need to worry too much about that. I could just take it off, and it's not really needed for the car to run. This stuff, however, is more important. That being said, I am gonna give it a couple weeks to kind of get all the parts that I can together. However, I don't really want to take a few weeks off, so I'm gonna hopefully introduce you guys to another car that I managed to get, because like I said, this Civic was out of commission for a while, and your boy needed another car. So, where are my freaking keys? Check it out. New car. Stay tuned, guys. For the next episode, I'll introduce you guys to the new car that I have. Hopefully you guys like it. It's not something particularly JDM, but it's a daily. So until next time, guys, take care and good speed.